Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Raihana binti Mohamad Anuar. My metric card number is 2021868458 and I am from class M1BA2322E. I am going to present about an analysis of corporate financial performance, a trend and comparative study from the subject Financial Management, FIN420. The goal of this assignment is to undertake a comparative examination of the financial health of two companies. I chose two companies such as George Can Malaysia Berhad and Overseas Enterprise Berhad to analyze and evaluate their financial statements and income statements for 3 years. Liquidity ratio, activity ratio, leverage ratio, and profitability ratio are the four of the type of ratio. George Can Malaysia Berhad has a long history of delivering high-quality products and projects to the commercial and public sector in Malaysia and around the world. George Can is dedicated to assisting customers in achieving long-term success and producing value for all stakeholders. Their metering system and solution have achieved the highest standards recognized by the competent authorities, as evidenced by local and international certifications, with a market reach of more than 40 countries. Their mission is George Can fully embrace its obligations to be honest and ethical across the group operations. Owing to its rich tradition, this is ingrained in the company's brain and reflected in its vision and mission statement. Their vision statement is to become the most renowned engineering firm in the region and beyond. Overseas Enterprise Berhad is a Malaysian corporation with its headquarters in Kuala Lumpur. It has been listed on Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad East Market since April 1, 2010. The group began in the 1970s as a joint venture by Mr. Yu Suchai or Yi Suchai and an unaffiliated third party. They have opened several restaurants at several countries. Their awards and recognitions are Asia's Finest Restaurants, Greatest Table in Kuala Lumpur, winner of World Gold Kitchen Cooking and Grand Competition, International Restaurant of Chinese Cuisine, and the Asia Pacific International Honesty Enterprise. Ratio analysis is the process of computing and understanding financial ratios in order to evaluate a company's financial health and performance. Shareholders, creditors, and the company's management are all interested in it. Trend analysis and cross-sectional analysis are the form of ratio computation. Trend analysis is used to analyze a firm's performance over time, whereas cross-sectional analysis is used to compare different firms at the same time. The cautions for doing ratio analysis are that ratios must be considered together. Financial statements that are being compared must be dated at the same point in time. Audited financial statements should be used wherever possible. The financial data being compared must have been developed in the same way, and influential distortions must be avoided. There are four types of ratio. The first one is liquidity ratio, activity ratio, leverage ratio, and the last one is profitability ratio. Next, I will show you guys all of the tables that will show trend analysis for 3 years from two companies such as GCAN and Overseas. Now we are at the cross-sectional analysis for the year of 2019. As you can see, there are a table of title ratios and two companies that I choose, and the year is from 2019. Based on the table above, both firms have enough current assets to meet their current obligations even without relying on their inventories. However, Overseas Enterprise Berhad is better in managing its assets and its current obligations. Both firms have poor ability in managing all of their resources to generate sales, while Overseas is better than GCAN at this part. As for debt collection, GCAN have poor management on debt collection as the average collection period is over 100 days per year. Also, Overseas Berhad decreasing its period rapidly. Other than that, Overseas Berhad debt ratio is 0.80% of its assets with debt compared with GCAN's 0.42%. This showed that GCAN is the higher debt ratio and more financial risk. The firm assumed, and this made it costly for the firm to borrow additional funds. As long-term ratio, GCAN long-term ratio is 0.34% times, while Overseas Berhad long-term ratio is 0.05 times. Both of these companies are relying more on that. Net profit margin for GCAN and Overseas Berhad are 0.19% and 0.07%. However, GCAN Berhad uses an effective cost structure and a good pricing strategy compared to Overseas Berhad based on their net profit margin. Finally, the firm's return on assets, GCAN Berhad has a higher ratio than Overseas Berhad. Financial ratios, also known as benchmark, are the primary tool of financial analysis. Ratios standardize financial information of firms so that comparison between firms of varying sizes can be made. Also, financial ratios are a popular way to assess a company's financial performance. However, when assessing a company's use of its asset to create firm value, a financial ratio analysis based solely on the firm's financial statement may be insufficient. As a matter of fact, Overseas Enterprise Berhad management team is better in improving their performance than GCAN Malaysia Berhad team based on the ratio analysis for the past 3 years. If an investor wants to invest and had to choose between these companies, they most likely will choose Overseas Enterprise Berhad based on their performance. As for GCAN Malaysia Berhad, they lack in improving and some of the ratio is fluctuation. This suggests that their management team is not doing a good job of improving their performance. Based on this analysis, we can conclude that some companies improve faster than others and that some companies require more time to improve their performance. Furthermore, Overseas Enterprise Berhad should improve their management skills in order to increase sales, and this will help them to become a better company in the future. Last but not least, as for GCAN Malaysia Berhad, they will be able to generate sales and profits easily if they settle most of their debts. In my opinion, both the companies GCAN Malaysia Berhad and Overseas Enterprise Berhad need to improve their business practices, particularly their financial statements. This is due to the fact that both companies are able to get a higher and more profitable profits. Furthermore, relying on debt increases the risk. Firms must perform calculations and comparisons to determine how much debt financing is appropriate. In order to increase their time interest earned ratio, the firms must find ways to increase sales, particularly for GCAN Malaysia Berhad company. Last but not least, a good pricing strategy and an effective cost structure can help to increase the net profit margin. In addition, we can see that both companies, GCAN Malaysia Berhad and Overseas Enterprise Berhad, have their own set of advantages and disadvantages based on the company's financial reporting system. That is all from me. Thank you for lending your ear to listen to my video presentations about this individual case study. Sorry for the mistake. I hope what I said is clear and accurate. Have a good day. Assalamualaikum.